You can go into picking your diet foods for your specific goals, okay? So we're gonna go over losing weight, gaining weight, and even just performing better, maybe in a recreational sport or your activities of daily life, okay? So when it comes to losing weight, the way we think about this is that we usually want more lower calorie, high density foods. So foods that have an extremely small amount of overall energy to them, but a huge amount of food volume. Usually these types of foods are going to be very high in protein, very high in fiber, and fairly low in fat, okay? So a great example of this would be something like a salad with chicken breast, okay? Maybe a little bit of light dressing, not too much, not a bunch of extra cheese and croutons because that's a bunch of extra fat and things that are low in fiber. And we're trying to keep it lean for our weight loss goals. But if you think about it, lettuce and vegetables, there's not a whole lot of calories in them. They're very dense though in micronutrients, very dense in fiber, which can help to keep you full. And the micronutrients will help all your bodily functions to work much, much better, of course. That chicken breast, that protein is extremely satiating as well, which will help to keep you full so you don't think about binging on all of those other foods that are delicious, like the example that we're gonna give on this next one. So let's think of a fried chicken sandwich with ranch on it. So this is decent in protein, right? You got the chicken breast on it, so probably like 20 to 25 grams of protein. But then you are frying it, so you're adding a bunch of extra fat, which doesn't have any extra fiber to it. You are adding ranch to it, which has a bunch of extra fat with zero fiber to it. It's basically like drinking a liquid, if you think about it. It's a liquid calorie. And then you even have the bun on top of it, and a lot of times those buns are buttered. They might have some extra sauce on them, and they might have just a little bit of extra something added to it to make it even more calorie dense and delicious. So you could be eating something like a fried chicken sandwich with ranch that would have, I don't know, these things are crazy nowadays, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 calories in just one sandwich like that, versus a salad with chicken breast, which you can make a big bowl of salad, and that could only be like 200 to 300 calories, and that would fill you up maybe for almost 2 meals. Or you can eat that fried chicken sandwich with ranch, which will fill you up, but it'll also make you tired. It'll make you feel sick. It'll make you hungrier much quicker later in the day because there's not a whole lot of fiber to it. And it's not going to help you with your weight loss goals. You probably consumed your entire calorie budget in just, that one sandwich, for example. And the way the world's designed, there's more and more of these foods. Like if you go to Burger King or Wendy's, for example, I'm thinking of like the triple Baconator, like stuff like that, where there's just so much fat and calories packed into it that you're just asking to gain weight. Now, when I talk about these foods, you can still eat them. You just need to realize that they come at a cost. And that if you're not aware of the cost, as in the calorie cost, it's going to show up on your waistline, of course. So, on the exact opposite, gaining weight, we can shoot for more moderate protein, because when you're gaining weight, you don't need as much protein to build muscle, simply because calories are protein sparing. So if you're eating enough overall calories, you don't need to worry about that protein. When you're losing weight, you need to worry about protein because you are eating in a calorie deficit. And if you don't have those calories, which are of course protein sparing or muscle sparing, you're going to need to replace it with actual protein. Gaining weight, don't worry about as much, just more of a moderate protein approach. You're going to want to have stuff that's maybe a little bit lower in fiber. This isn't saying neglect fruits and vegetables, but maybe not the most fibrous vegetables, right? Maybe not the most fibrous fruits. Like a banana is something I'm thinking of, for example. There, of course, is a little bit of fiber in that, but it's not the most fiber dense. And I'm trying to think of another vegetable off the top of my head. I love broccoli, but that's extremely fiber dense. So I might lean towards another option. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe carrots. I don't know. I don't know the fiber content in carrots. Usually the greener it is, the more fiber it's going to have into it. That's kind of a rule of thumb, but just generally, vegetables have more fiber. So maybe sticking with more fruits in a bulking phase, right? And then you can add a little more higher carbs and a little bit higher in fat. And when you're talking about adding these things, you still need to pay attention, to your calorie goals, because that's going to dictate everything at the end of the day. So let's use the example of having an oatmeal with a banana, right? So a little bit of carbs, actually a lot of carbs, a little bit of fiber in the oatmeal and banana. There's not really a lot of protein in that, right? So we want a little bit more protein. And maybe we can afford to have a little more fat. So instead of that, you're going to have shredded wheat, which has a lot more carbs in it. So that's one aspect. You're adding whole milk, which has a little bit of fat and calories and a little bit of protein in it, which is great, what we need, moderate protein, and a banana. Still both pretty healthy options, but one's not really having that protein in it, even a little bit of protein, and not really a lot of fat. And when you're trying to gain weight, and if you struggle to gain weight and put on those extra calories into your diet, those specific foods are going to greatly help you to do exactly that. So when it comes to performance, as in moving bigger, becoming stronger, and being basically more athletic, either in your actual athletic life or just recreational and life. I don't know if that works, but it sounds good. You're going to be eating foods similar to gaining weight. So it's going to be pretty moderate in protein, lower in fiber, higher in carbs and fats. But what we're trying to do with performance is not usually gain weight. If you're in a point where you're okay with your weight, you're usually just trying to move better, perform better. You gotta pick a way to make sure you are sticking to those calories. That's going to be super crucial and important for this specific portion, right? So you must not overeat on calories, otherwise you're gonna gain weight, and that's not our goal. It's just to perform better, to move faster, all of those different things. So you're gonna find some foods that you enjoy that meet these criteria, and you need to stick with them and realize you can enjoy the other foods, but they might not help you get directly to your goals as much as you want to. Let's use the losing weight, for example, and you know that you need to be eating mainly lower calorie, high density foods. So normally you get a salad for lunch, but one day you're like, I just really want a burger and fries. That's perfectly okay to eat, but realize if you have a calorie budget, you might eat up half of that calorie budget in that one meal, versus if you had your normal salad, you are going to be eating maybe a quarter of your calorie budget, right? So just realize there's a little bit of sacrifice in some portions and a little bit of non-sacrifice in the others. So it's a push and pull. Maybe on a day where you're busy and that's the only meal you're eating, then that's fine. You can kind of work with that. But if you're not in a situation, maybe you're just going to stick with your normal one. On the aspect of gaining weight, maybe you're somebody who's like, yeah, but I really like eating salad with some vegetables. That's fine. Just realize that's going to be very filling, and it's going to be hard for you to get the rest of those calories in later in the day. So just realize there's always pros and cons to all of your dieting decisions, and they come down to your specific preferences. So if you got value from that, please go ahead and drop a like. I'd greatly appreciate it.